Welcome back to my own sheet. I know I have been gone for a long time. A lot of things have happened since my last video. I've moved countries and started a new job. And I also abandoned my YouTube channel for over 2 years. Been going through a rough spot. Anyways, today I came back because I truly felt like making another video. Since, the year's coming to a close and I don't know, it always goes by so quickly. Though, in return, that also means new bullet journal. This is the one from 2024. Some fans may recognize it as the design of notebook therapy. It must have been the Fuji-san limited edition from back in, I think 2021? I'd prefer not to show the whole inside since there is, as always, lots of personal info in there, and to be honest, it would fill a whole other video. But on to our honorary guest for the day. I got this one literally off a random store. I don't even remember which one. I already own it for years. And initially, I intended to use it for quotes and as kind of a scrapbook, which you will see later, but then I changed my mind. And since I did like the color, but it kind of felt very plain, I decided to paint on it with golden acrylics. I like actually how it turned out. I ended up foiling it to protect both the painting and the book in general. I actually plan on doing that to all the journals with fragile, squishy covers. I also did that to the 2024 because it's a faux leather. I just wanted to protect it from dirt and stuff. Now I gotta show you the insides, but I am going to start at the end of it where I always do the pen tests. And as you can see, I tested it and it's bleeding like hell. It used to bother me a lot actually in my former bullet journals, but last year, my bullet journal had very thick pages. I could literally draw on it with watercolors and it barely bled through. Or actually not at all. And since I barely ever did that though, I felt bad because I was kind of wasting the potential or something. At the same time, I didn't want any elaborate monthly pages. It just had to be functional with maybe one aesthetic element or something. That is absolutely enough for me, and so I decided very thin pages that do bleed through a little are totally fine. I also decided on a range of fonts that I'm gonna use in this journal since I want to keep it very minimalistic, even more so than the last years. I always try to reduce it and make it more simple, more functional, more easy to use. Also, this journal does not have a back pocket, so I plan to glue an envelope in there. I got these 3 as my options. What do you think fits most? Feel free to leave a comment. And now let's start over from the beginning. The first page you're greeted with is my contact info in case I ever lose it, which would be specifically horrible because I'm not just gonna use this bullet journal for 1 year, but for 4 years. I did do the math, counted the pages, and I shrunk some spreads or even left them out so it fits right in. There is space left for my essential lists that I make every year and a few extra pages still, but it is very tight, so I won't be able to go crazy on making lists in there. This page right here is where I started scrapbooking. Legitimately the only page I ever made, which is very good because now I can use it as the bullet journal for the next 4 years. Going into the yearly spreads, I started, as usual, with the self-visualization. Instead of having a whole page a year though, I shrunk it to quarter of a page. That way I have to think carefully about who I really want to become and how I imagine my life, and how to frame it in a proper, short, yet very clear way. Next up, we got the goals section. I used to have a double page for the year, but I barely even look at it, so this should be totally enough. My focus on different goals usually changes within the year anyways, so sometimes my health is very important, then I change my focus on finances, etc. I suppose though this happens to everyone. This year I skipped the future log completely since I don't use it anymore. I kind of changed the system of how I manage my appointments and to-dos. I mainly use Notion for the to-do part. And for my appointments, I use both the weekly spreads as well as Google Calendar, just for a general overview. Then we go into the reminders. Reminders are just quotes and things I want to be reminded of, simply put. That, I don't have to work hard, things like that. And this page is actually, I found it on Pinterest if I'm honest, and I thought it was so beautiful and I had to recreate it. I will try to find the artist, but I will definitely link the pin in the description down below. Of course, I also created the first month already. Over here, I'm going to track my habits, my mood, and exhaustion. As design elements, I added this stamp and a quote that shall kind of guide me through the month. And the only reason I even glued something on here is because I was so insanely proud of the previous picture, so I didn't want much text to bleed through here. I know it's kind of contradictory to what I said earlier, but anyways. Here I am going to make an overview of highlights of the month and favorite memories. These are my weekly spreads, only taking up one page. That way I get 2 weeks on a double page instead of, just one. I keep the weekly overview and appointments because it's super convenient, though I do differentiate between private appointments and things at work. Over here, I'm writing down to-dos that are specifically supposed to be on that day, like my reset that I always do on Saturday. The to-dos on the right are for to-dos that I can do whenever. Then I'm only tracking how I'm feeling in one quick sentence and potentially journaling something I'm grateful about. And this setup repeats every week until the end of the journal, probably. In the back of the bullet journal, as already shown, I have my pen tests and the fonts that I'm going to use for this journal. But then I also have a contact page. I use this as a reminder to contact friends and family that I don't talk to as often. For example, some friends I only write every few months, but I also want to make sure that I don't forget to write them regularly. That's why I track when I last contacted them. Does that make sense? I hope so. And then from the back to the front, I track what I read each year individually. The first column is for the title of the book. Then comes whether or not it's an e or an audiobook, or if it's empty, it's a physical copy. In here goes the author. Then we got the page number or length of the audiobook, when I started and finished the book, and the last column is for a rating of 1 to 10. And this setup just repeats for every year. Then I also have a watched list where I simply track what series or movies I watched. I only have 3 pages for all the 4 years because I don't watch as many movies as I read books. The last 2 official pages are an idea collection for the bullet journal after the current one, and 1 page for my infatuations. I often get infatuations with topics or series or games, and I do like to track them. These empty last pages probably will be filled with an overview or memory page or picture page for each year, just as a nice review basically. I also regret not showing you both May and June of 2022. It is the spread I am most proud of. And even though there may only be 1 or 2 people ever seeing this video, I still want to show you. I'm just gonna flip through it real quick, especially through May. Here, as you might see, I tea stained the paper for June. It was a total mess, but I love how it turned out. And then I tried to make it a little witchy. It is supposed to be a little bit like a grimoire, and each double page with its own topic. We got astrology covered, tarot cards, herbs, crystals, and what else belongs on an altar. Honestly, of everything I created ever in a bullet journal, this is my favorite. And since I didn't even show you my 2023 bullet journal at all, I'm just gonna flip through it real quick here. You might see a spread here and there, but if you would ever want a full flip through, a proper one, then just write it down in the comments. And that's my 2025 to 2028 bullet journal. I'm just gonna keep doing that for the next 4 years. and I'm kind of excited to only have to make or set up one bullet journal for the next 4 years. I'm also a little bit sad because it's really nice to start a new one. So I'm gonna see how it turns out, if I want to keep it simple and small and only make one for 2 or even 4 years, or if I want to go back to making each year a new one. We'll see. Thank you for watching, and see you!